For more than 150 years, there's been this whisper, a rumor that's echoed through the halls of history. A royal scandal so big, some say it's been covered up to this very day. So what happens when the official records go silent and all that's left is a family legend? Well, today we're going to try and unravel one of the most fascinating and persistent royal mysteries of all time. It really all boils down to this one question. Did one of Queen Victoria's own daughters give birth out of wedlock and then hide the baby from the entire world? It's a simple question, but believe me, the story behind it is anything but. And this is her. Meet Princess Louise, the sixth child of Queen Victoria. Now, Louise was not your typical prim and proper Victorian princess, not at all. She was a professional sculptor, a big supporter of what we'd now call feminist causes, and by pretty much all accounts, she was the real wild child of the royal family. And that rebellious spirit? Well, that's exactly why so many people believe she was capable of keeping a secret that would have shaken the monarchy to its absolute core. All right, so let's dive right into the heart of this scandal. And remember, this isn't some modern tabloid story. No. This is a rumor that has its roots planted firmly in Queen Victoria's own court. The claim itself is just explosive. That sometime in the late 1860s, while she was still unmarried, Princess Louise got pregnant, had a baby boy, and then that son was secretly adopted out to another family. You know, if that were true, it would have been a scandal of absolutely epic proportions. But the real question is, where did a story like this even come from? Well, the story really kicks off, as so many of these things do, with someone new arriving at court, and a timeline that, when you look at it closely, just feels off. Okay, so take a look at this sequence of events, all happening in 1866. In March, this tutor, Walter Sterling, shows up. Now, Louise was super close to her brother Leopold, so she would have been around this new guy a lot. Then, just 4 months later, bam! Sterling is suddenly fired for a really flimsy, unbelievable reason. And almost immediately after that, Louise just vanishes from public life. It's during this exact window of time that the secret birth is supposed to have happened. It's all just really, really compressed and incredibly suspicious, don't you think? Now, here's the thing. There's no smoking gun here. No birth certificate, nothing like that. So what we're left with is a trail of breadcrumbs, a whole lot of circumstantial evidence. So let's follow it together, piece by piece, like we're detectives on a very, very old cold case. The first clue is kind of wild. It comes from her fashion choices. A biographer, Lucinda Hauxley, noticed that before 1866, Louise wore these really simple, tight dresses. But right during that suspicious period, her style completely changes. Suddenly, it's all about frills and padding, and very conveniently, lots of shawls and muffs positioned perfectly to hide her midsection. Even her own mother, Queen Victoria, wrote in her diary that Louise didn't need help getting dressed anymore. Maybe because she has something to hide? And if you want to know what was going on inside her head at the time, well, this letter she wrote to a friend says it all. She talks about crying alone in her room, about how things are all wrong, and about a secret she literally can't write down. I mean, does that sound like the turmoil of a young, unmarried princess terrified of a secret getting out? It sure does to me. Okay, but this is where the chain of evidence gets truly compelling. Right before the alleged birth, the Queen's personal gynecologist, a Sir Charles Lawcock, is just given a royal apartment. A little while later, his son adopts a baby boy named Henry, who was born at the exact right time. Then the Lawcock family suddenly starts getting this huge unexplained payment. And to top it all off, the mother of the tutor who was fired, Walter Sterling, makes a quiet visit to see Sir Charles Lawcock. I mean, come on, it's a chain of coincidences that's almost too perfect to be a coincidence. And this wasn't just some dusty court gossip. Oh no. The adopted boy, Henry Lawcock, he grew up and told his own 6 kids that this story was the absolute truth. So for generations, the Lawcock family has believed, truly believed, that their ancestor was the secret son of Princess Louise. It became their living family legend. So you might be thinking, okay, if this all happened so long ago, why don't we have a definitive answer by now? Well, that's where the story takes a very modern twist, with some pretty serious allegations of an active, ongoing cover-up. Just take a look at this list. Her biographer has hit a staggering number of roadblocks. The official royal archives say Louise's files are just closed, no reason given. Other key archives were suddenly inaccessible for years. Important files from her time in Canada were packed up and shipped back to Windsor. The Locock family has gone to court twice to try and get DNA testing, and they've been denied twice. Get this, her biography isn't even stocked in the palaces where she actually lived. And maybe craziest of all, 5, count them, 5 different TV documentaries about her have been started and then mysteriously canceled. It really makes you wonder, why is a princess who died back in 1939 still such a sensitive topic? So, after all of that, after all these twists and turns, where are we? Well, we're left with a fascinating, incredibly frustrating, and ultimately unsolved royal mystery. So when you lay it all out and weigh the evidence, the situation becomes crystal clear in a very frustrating way. On one side, you have this mountain of circumstantial clues, the timeline, the tutor, that super convenient adoption, the money, and what really looks like a modern cover-up. But on the other side, in the definitive proof column, absolutely nothing. Not a single piece of hard evidence. Zip. And that's the reality of this whole story. Without getting into those sealed archives, without DNA evidence, without some long-lost confession letter turning up, the case is just frozen in time. It's this incredible puzzle, but it feels like all the most important pieces have been hidden away. So I'll leave it with you. What do you think? Is this the tragic story of a young princess forced into a terrible choice, a secret that's been protected by the establishment for over a century? Or is it just a fantastic rumor that grew and grew into one of history's most compelling legends? The evidence is all there, but the final verdict? Well, that's up to you.